Hey guys, it's Marsha and I'm back with another recap video for 90 Day Fiance. Before the 90 days, we are recapping episodes from season 3, so the current season right now, and I'm about to tell you all about what happened in episode 4 with all the couples and my thoughts on it. So here we go. Okay, so for this recap, I ended up actually typing my notes. So if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at the computer. Um, Problem is though, I can't see it without my glasses, so I'm gonna have to put my glasses on. It's not like my handwriting. It was so much easier to type it on the computer. I don't know why I've been handwriting notes, but anyway. Okay, so I'm gonna try. I have to keep my head down so the light doesn't reflect on my glasses. But anyway, so we start with Rebecca. And I'll zoom in on this a bit so I can not have to deal with the whole ring light thing in the glasses. Okay, so Rebecca, she's in Tunisia at this point, right, with Zied. Um, they go to meet up with Zied's friends to play football. So she goes with them and she's concerned about what his friends are going to think about her. And he gets there and he automatically runs onto the field and he's ready to play. And she's like, bruh, hold up. Aren't you going to introduce me to your friends? So he's like, oh yeah. So he introduced her to his friends before he starts playing. And like once he runs back on the field, one of his friends comes up to him and kind of embraces him, and in their language he says, "You're looking more white." He says this to Zied and they're laughing or whatever, and Zied replies to him that, yeah, I'm living the luxury life. So I guess their perception of white American people, or just maybe white people, is equivalent to richness and luxury. So I was just thinking, if only Rebecca could understand what the hell they were saying. She would have been like, what the hell? Anyway, so after they finish playing football, she spends time with him and his friends and becomes painfully aware of the age difference. In on the side, one of his friends said that he thought that Rebecca looks a little older from the pictures. He expected her to be younger based on the pictures and videos that he had seen of her. And one of the friends asks Rebecca how old she is. Now, you know, at least here in the States, that's kind of a no-no to ask a woman her age. For a man, really, to ask a woman her age. And she was kind of taken aback by it, but she did answer. And they were all just like, oh, you know, and some of them, you see them kind of chuckling on the side or whatever. And it looked like it made her really, really uncomfortable, which it would to me, especially if I don't understand what they're saying. Then they want to see her tattoos, and they ask her about how much her tattoos costed to get, because now they're seeing like dollar signs that, oh, this lady must have money, have that whole sleeve of tattoos on her, you know. So it looks like it made one of his friends want to marry or find an American woman for himself. So anyway, she talks about wanting to know more about Zied at this point. So the next scene with them, she's in the bathroom blow drying his hair. I mean, what would he have done without her at that point? But anyway, she's blow drying his hair. To me, his hair still look greasy. I don't know what Zied's putting in his hair, but she probably should have been shampooing it like Summit did for Jenny. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, they're going out on a date, I guess, and she wants to wear this black sleeveless top. It's a v-neck, it's sleeveless, and he took issue with the sleeveless part of it because in Tunisia, the women are very conservative and they do not bare their arms like that. So he disapproves of it because it's deemed like sexy. So he doesn't want it to attract attention to her from other men, of course, which is why many of the time the women in those cultures tend to cover up. So she's arguing back and forth, saying that, oh, this would have been normal in America. This is fine what I'm wearing. But really what's happening is that she's thinking that he's being controlling, because in her past, her husband, who was from Morocco, pretty much told her what to wear, what not to wear. He made her like stop wearing makeup. She had to cover up. She said that at one point she even started wearing a hijab or whatever. So this was kind of like PTSD for her, it seemed like. And she was just really bucking him. She was like, I'm gonna wear my shirt, I'm gonna wear my top, it's gonna be okay. I can put my jacket on over it, you'll be all right. And he was just like not having it, right? So it kind of became, she was seeing it more like a power struggle, when really it was a respect thing. Like when you go to another country, first of all, you need to do your research so that you don't disrespect the culture, especially countries that are where the culture is heavily based on the religion that is practiced there. Clearly Rebecca did not do this, or maybe she did it and she didn't care. I don't know. So they're out and about and they're smoking hookahs or whatever, and they're still talking about what she's wearing, child. She has on a black jacket over it. But he tells her that if people see her with that kind of shirt on, they're gonna think that she's not a good woman. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they think a woman who would wear her arms like that is like a loose woman or something. I don't know. But that's what he's telling her. She's getting annoyed at this. She's afraid that he would try to control her in America too. So at this point, it seems like she's not really feeling the relationship. Because as I said before, it's kind of reminiscent to the previous relationship she had where her ex-husband kind of controlled her. So she takes off her jacket to prove a point. Like, homegirl, why would you make this even worse? Now you're in public. There are people sitting next to you. It's bad enough y'all already arguing about this shirt, and now you're gonna take off your jacket just to prove a point? Well, she does that. And he's like, no, no. It's like he tries to stop her, like. So he's telling her that your arms and your tattoos are going to attract attention. And of course, that's exactly what it did. This guy who was sitting directly beside her is automatically like this, looking at her arms and looking at her tattoos. And of course, Zied is getting mad. He's like, hey man, what you looking at? Why you looking at my lady? Look somewhere else. Look in front of you. The man's like, I'm just looking at her tattoos. I like them. They're nice. I'm just looking. And Zied is like, man, don't look at her. Don't look at her tattoos. He gets up. He gets all in the man's face. Rebecca's thinking they're about to fight because Zied is really kind of going off on this man for looking at her. So that's where it leaves off with Rebecca and Zied. Rebecca at this point is like, oh my God, is he going to hit him? So I guess we'll just have to see next week how this all goes down, and if they end up, if this ends up being a major hurdle in their relationship. All right, so now on to Timothy. Timothy is traveling to Colombia to see Jennifer. So it shows him on the plane. He's got like those under eye masks on because he's been traveling for so long and he doesn't want to look tired when he gets there. So he's wearing those on the plane, I guess, so he doesn't look like what he's been through. So anyway, then it jumps to footage in Colombia with Jennifer. So she's working out. She's all sweaty. Of course, they make her look as sexy as possible. She's boxing. Then they show her, you know, modeling and everything like that. And they also show her at home with her daughter. So it's like they show the different parts of her life, how working out and being healthy and fit is important to her, what she does for a living, and then her life as a mom. She likes that Timothy is a family man and a good father, you know, as far as it seems to her. And she said she went on an international dating site to find a good man. And she feels that she's a model and any man would be lucky to have her. So anyway, she goes to the pool. She meets up with a couple of her friends, and she shows pictures of him and his Ferrari to her friends, of course. And the friends are like, "Ooh, oh, okay, you know, he got money, whatever." And then she shows them a picture of his ex. I guess the selfie that they took, where the ex is wearing like that see-through shirt, and the friend. Well, it was that picture and another picture. And even I said the same thing as the friend did for the first picture she showed, is that in that photo, the ex looked a lot like Jennifer. She had black hair and she just really resembled her there. So it's kind of reveals that he has a bit of a type, which everybody has a type, you know? But so they kind of looked alike there. But Jennifer was like, man, I'm sorry for my dog. I'm sorry. Jennifer was like, she will cut it off if he cannot separate from his ex, because she's not having that. And Jennifer does seem like very headstrong and independent, and like she don't take any mess. So really, go downstairs. Go downstairs. Go. So then Timothy arrives in Colombia, and of course he's hoping that she's gonna like him when she sees him, and he's afraid that she might still be mad about the picture with his ex. So of course he's still got this big old teddy bear for her daughter. So she and her daughter come to pick him up. She's excited and nervous, just like everybody is. But you know, they meet, it goes really well. They hug out of respect. He kisses her on the cheek and not on the lips. Her daughter likes the teddy bear. It's all good. So they all get in the cab. They're going to the apartment that he rented. But I noticed, before she said something, I noticed that he's looking at her, like complimenting her. No, sorry, he's not looking at her. That's the problem. But he's complimenting her while he's talking, but he's like looking straight ahead or out the window, and she's like right here. And he's like, yeah, you're a really good mom. I like that, yeah. And she's over here. And she's like, why aren't you looking at me? You know, it seemed like really his head was in another place, but he makes up some excuse about his head is hitting the roof, and if he turns his head this way, it's gonna, I don't know if he didn't want to mess up his hair, because it looks like it takes quite a bit of gel to keep his hair in that, you know, perfect little wave he got going on, or if he really just had a lot on his mind. So, then guess who calls? Veronica calls, and of course Jennifer's like, what the hell is she calling you for? And he's like, oh, I told her I would call her when I got here to let her know that I arrived safely. So of course that sets Jennifer off. She's like, is she your mama or is she your wife? What is going on here? Why does she need to know all that? Like, what's up? So he still hasn't really told her just how close he and Veronica really are. But he says, oh, but you know, she took me to the airport because I couldn't even find a ride. And I was thinking, you talk about all this money you have. You could have taken an Uber to the airport. Like, you could have afforded that. You didn't need Veronica to take you to the airport. So don't use that as an excuse. And of course Jennifer gets mad and she's like, don't even talk to me. Next on the show is Benjamin. Remember, Benjamin is traveling to Nairobi to see Akini, a 26-year-old woman. I always want to say girl because she looks like a little girl. She looks about 14, but she's 26. Still younger than he is. So anyway, he's telling his son that he's going to Africa because he's never been away from his son before. So he tells him he's going to Africa and then he'll be back. His friend takes him to the airport and he's talking about how he's still worried about this bride price because money is really tight for him, and he's really feeling like if the bride price is out of his budget, out of his range, this is probably not going to work out. So when he gets to the airport, he's on the plane and everything, and he starts getting a little emotional and teary-eyed because things are starting to really feel real to him. Like he's actually on the plane now to go to Nairobi. So once he reaches there, well, no, before he reached there, they show footage of Akini preparing for his arrival. So she calls for her best friend to come and do her hair. She says that she's never had before she met him online, she had never had a conversation with a white person before. But she thinks that he's respectful. She assumes that white people have money. So maybe that was a motivator too for her to continue talking to him. But the fact that he's divorced and has a child might be an issue for her parents as far as accepting him as a husband for her. She says that her father thinks white people are a problem. So that's a huge problem for Benjamin off the bat. She also thinks that meeting her brother Fidel is going to be a big deal because Fidel, as her brother, has to speak on Benjamin's behalf to her father. So Fidel has to approve of Benjamin first to even speak on his behalf. So this is the big obstacle right here. Benjamin is white now, and Dad doesn't really seem to be very trusting of white people. So it shows her and her friend out shopping. I think she wants to get a new bracelet or whatever, and her friend is talking to her and telling her she hopes for the best for her. They talk about, the friend says on the side that she's known Akini for a very long time, and Akini has always liked watching white movies, and so she figures, well, I guess that's why she liked white man, you know, seemed like she always liked watching the white movies. But she reveals to her friend that she's not really comfortable. I'm sorry, I feel like I have a hair on me. I do. There's a hair. She's not very comfortable with becoming a stepmom to Benjamin's son, and she feels like maybe she can be more of a friend to him, but like he's like under 10. But it looks like the friend's looking at her like, ooh. And she feels that, well, she knows that Benjamin would definitely choose his child over her if it really came down to it. So now Benjamin gets to Nairobi. He gets there. It's Akini's first time going to the airport, which I thought was very interesting. Her first time going to the airport. She was nervous and anxious, of course. She's worried if they will have chemistry. And she figures, you know what? If I don't really like him, I'm just fine with being his tour guide and he can go back home. Like, Akini's attitude is like, well, it's either gonna be good or it's not, you know? So, but good thing is they meet, they hug, they kiss on the lips. And in the beginning, it seemed like he may have been embracing her tighter and, you know, pressing his lips up against hers. And she looked like she was grabbing his shoulders, like she wanted to kind of like ease him up off of her. But then she just let go and just kept kissing him, child. And they said they felt chemistry. They both felt chemistry there. She thinks he's handsome. Then it's like she's studying him, and she like comments on how hairy he is, how big he is, and all that kind of stuff. But she also reveals that she has something to tell him, like a secret or something that she has not told him about yet. So I guess we'll have to wait for next week to see what that is. Now on to one of our favorites, Miss Darcy. Okay, so Darcy was an emotional mess this episode, and I am really starting to wonder about something Jessie said, and I'll get back to that in a moment. So her and Tom are leaving dinner. She's still smitten, saying she feels chemistry between the two of them. Tom is like pointing out things out the window in the cab, like, oh, I forget what it was. Some beautiful, I guess, looking place. And Darcy's like, oh, is that where we're going to get married? And Tom doesn't even look at it. He just look out the window and he's like, it's lovely, isn't it? You know, it's like, girl, slow your roll. Stop trying to rush into everything. You just met the man. You haven't even spent 24 hours with him yet. Seeing him and being with him in person is nothing like talking to him on the phone and video chatting. Slow it down. But we know this to be Darcy. So anyway, they get to the Airbnb and where they will be staying. I thought that he was going to be staying at his house and he was putting her up in an Airbnb. But no, he rented a house, a whole house for the two of them to stay in. It's just that they're not going to be staying in the same room. So he shows Darcy her room. Well, first of all, before he even showed her a room, child, she starts getting emotional and starts crying, talking about how much she likes him and how no man has ever been so good to her, and blase, blase. And he's looking at her like, he's like, she's rather emotional. And he's not feeling it though. He's not liking it. So she sucks up them tears, child. And he gives her the tour. And all I kept typing in my notes is Darcy is a mess. Darcy is a mess. Because she's a hot ass mess at this point. So, it turns out that he took the master bedroom and was giving her a different room, but she didn't like the room. And she was like, well, I want to see your room. So he takes her up to the room where he's going to be staying. And she said that she wants to stay in there. She doesn't want to sleep down in that room by herself. And she starts crying a damn again. Why is Darcy crying? And of course, now he's looking at her like she's crazy. And he's like, man, this is not cool. She, I swear, reminded me of a toddler who did not want to sleep alone in their room. That is what Darcy reminded you. I don't want to sleep alone. I want to stay with you. He even says it's not going to work if she's going to be like this. And I promise you, this is what I was going to say earlier. Darcy had been drinking. And I didn't really see it. I thought maybe Jesse was exaggerating and overreacting when they were in the show together previously. But I really am starting to wonder if Darcy has a drinking problem. She's definitely an emotional drunk. I mean, she cries like this when she's, and it's just like so stupid. Like, what is wrong with her? And now I feel like I'm starting to see it more, you know? She gets really emotional when she drinks, and maybe she just needs to lay off of it. So anyway, the next morning, she wakes up wearing his shirt, of course, a full face of makeup. Like the camera's on her and she's like, oh, lashes and everything on. Like, girl, come on. Anyway, she wakes up wearing his shirt. They didn't do anything. She said they just cuddled and slept. But he reveals he has like this tissue stuck in one of his nostrils. And she's like, what happened to your nose? And he said, oh, I had a nosebleed last night. Basically, she slept wild and popped him in the face, and his nose was bleeding. There was still blood all over the sheets, and she was just really embarrassed by it. So that day, he's taking her on a boat ride on the Thames River, and she's so excited. So she gets all dressed up. She puts on these heels that she can barely walk down the stairs in, child. I don't know why Darcy always feels like she has to be dressed to the nines to impress a man. Girl, just be yourself, because you're not going to be comfortable when you're going everywhere in these shoes. Anyway, she said she feels like she's in a fairy tale, and she is. She is, but she's the only one in the fairy tale. That's what she doesn't see. And then on the boat, she's crying again, but they're happy tears once again. So anyway, she asks Tom where they stand as far as their relationship goes. Like, where are they? And oh Lord, why did she ask that question? Listen, sometimes you should not ask questions that you may not want to hear the answer to, okay? Darcy did not want to hear his answer because Tom said that, well, she asked if he was seeing anyone else, and he said he's canceled things with other women to see how things will go with her. And so she was, of course, she was like not expecting that response, but she was like, oh, so you were seeing someone and you just kind of put that on hold to, you know, be with me and see where it goes. And he was like, well, not just one person, women, plural, to see how things go with Darcy. Little does he know she's devastated inside to hear this. I'm sure her whole little heart just crumbled. But I must say that I like that he was honest with her. Even if it was brutally honest, it's better to find out now than find out later that he had been talking to other women. That's how I see it. So that's where things were left off with Darcy and Tom. I'm pretty sure we'll see the continuation of that heartbreak and more tears on the next episode. So let's get to the next couple. All right, guys, so two more couples to talk about. We got Avery and then we have Caesar. Avery, her and her mom are over there in Lebanon. They're going wedding dress shopping. Omar wants to come because in his culture, it's normal for the man to come and see the dress that the bride wears, I guess. Mom kind of wasn't feeling it. She wanted it to be a mother-daughter thing, but Omar was like, I'm coming. He doesn't want her dress to be tight. She wants something nice and sparkly. And her mom says she used to wear like form-fitting dresses or whatever. She tries on one. She doesn't really like it. She tries on another that's pretty form-fitting. And he's like, that's too tight. But she loves it. But out of respect for him, she's like, all right, I won't go with this one. But then she tried on one that I really liked, actually. I liked it better than the form-fitting one. It's more of an A-line. It was very flattering. It still had sparkles. Everybody liked it. So mom went ahead and bought it. But mom is a little hesitant here. She's not really sure what to think because Avery has always been an independent thinker. She doesn't like people telling her what to do. So she really is not sure how this is going to work out with Avery in this religious culture, you know, doing everything like to please her man, you know. And I'm kind of interested to see how that works out too, because that is quite a shift. So it then goes on to them going out to eat later that evening. Mom was like, yeah, let's celebrate. You should get a glass of wine. And she's like, mom, no, I don't drink anymore. But I was thinking, isn't this girl 19? Did time speed up or something? Is she 19? Because mom mentioned that at home she was of age to drink. So I don't know. Last I checked, she was 19. Anyway, she's like, no, I don't drink because in religion you don't drink. And Omar was like, no, it's not good for you. It's harmful. Her mom was like, well, wait, let me get a Long Island. Because at this point, I'm pretty sure her mom needed a Long Island because this is all just so much for her to take in. So mom pulls up some stuff online that she had looked up about the treatment of women in the Muslim culture. And she mentioned something that she read about the husband hitting the wife if the wife like does something that displeases the husband. And Omar was like, well, he made a joke. Probably wasn't a good time for a joke. At first, he was like, oh, well, if she's good, it won't happen to her, you know, but Omar, was not the time for a joke, boo. But he said he was kidding, but he looked at what she was reading and it turned out it was a different version, I guess, of the Quran. He said hadith. And he said he's never heard that before, but he promised that he would never hit her. And even Avery was like, you're not gonna hit me, are you? And he was like, no, I don't do that. But then Avery kind of challenges her mom, kind of getting annoyed because she's feeling like mom is attacking their religion. And she starts saying to mom, she's like, all right, well, why don't we look up the crazy things that are said in the Old Testament of the Bible, mom? And her mom's like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. We don't need to hear. We don't need to go there. So at this point, Omar is really not so sure about Avery's mom, how this is going to work out, because he doesn't feel like she respects his culture and it might affect their relationship. And last but not least, we have Caesar. Good old, hopeful, broke Caesar. All right, so it shows Caesar picking out his little outfit for the trip. He's getting ready to go to Mexico. He's been working every day. He's been working more. It shows him eating ramen noodles. He eating ramen noodles every day, child. He still hasn't paid his rent or his bills. He might get back home and find all his stuff out on the front with a pink slip on his door, all for some woman he's never met and will probably not meet. And I typed on here, stupid. Okay, so he texts Maria to say how excited he is to see her. He hasn't heard from her in 2 days. Homeboy has not heard from Maria since he booked her ticket, I think. But anyway, he says he hasn't heard from her in 2 days. She doesn't respond to his texts or phone calls, but the dum-dum is still excited. He says that hope is getting him through. The producer asked him, like, bruh, like, how are you making it? Like, he was like, I have hope. All right. I hope hope can pay a bill or two. Bless his heart, like they say down here. I'm seriously, at this point, I'm thinking, I really hope that Caesar is not like the suicidal type, because this seems, he is just so hopeful, and he literally has put all his eggs in one basket. Okay, well, not literally, but figuratively. He has put all his eggs in one basket, and some of the eggs he didn't even have to put in there. And he's going to get crushed. His heart is going to be crushed, and I really, really hope that he has the strength and the mental capacity to cope with that disappointment and heartbreak. That's what I really hope for Caesar. So anyway, the next day he's getting ready to leave for Mexico. Still hasn't heard back from Maria. And he's in his bed and he's getting ready. And you know, one thing I noticed, this has nothing to do with the storyline, but his bed, I don't know if it was on the floor, but he had no headboard. And I don't know, it just bothers me to see a grown person and they don't even have like a headboard. It doesn't have to be fancy, but to see a grown person who works, like, when I say grown, I mean when you're in your 30s, 40s, you should have a headboard, boo. You should have like a real bed. Your mattress shouldn't be on the floor. Don't at me. That's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. Anyway, that's it for that. He arrives in Mexico now. He's really excited, still, of course, but he's in baggage claim. But he's the only one in baggage claim. There's nobody. I'm like, is there anybody at the airport? Was he the only one on the plane? There's nobody there. The belts on the baggage claim thing aren't even moving. He doesn't know where his luggage is. It turns out his luggage probably coming the next day. It's not there. So he goes on to his hotel, but he's worried because the ring was in his luggage. Why would you put the engagement ring in your checked bag? Why wouldn't you keep that on your person? Put it on your carry-on. Duh. Another exhibit of Caesar. Not the brightest crayon in the box. I'm sorry. So he goes to the hotel. On the way there, he sends her a video saying how much he loves her and he can't wait to see her. Again, I typed dummy. He gets to the room, looks like a basic hotel room to me, but he was like, oh my God, she's gonna love this. Maybe the view was really nice, I don't know, but she still hasn't responded to any of his text messages, but he can see that she has read his text messages. So she's just keeping him on read. You know what I mean? So that's where it leaves off for Caesar. It looks like in previews for the next episode, he's showing her picture to other guests at the hotel at the pool, and they're like, are you sure she's not catfishing you? And he's looking like, ugh. Because I'm pretty sure he keeps hearing this and he doesn't like it, but at the same time, he cannot ignore that because it's been 5 years and still no Maria. So I guess we'll just have to see next week what happens with all of these couples and whoever else they show us. I think Angela and Michael will be on the next episode. And I will recap that one next week, of course. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments, do you think that Caesar is for real this clueless, or do you think it's all an act? Because I mean, I really don't think he's ever going to see Maria. Let me know what you think, and tell me what you think about any of the other couples if you watch this show, anything that stood out to you in the show, because it just like blows my mind. But it's great entertainment, I must say. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so and hit that bell so you get notified of every time I post a video. That would be wonderful, and I'm trying to grow my subscribers, so that would be great too. And like this video, hit that thumbs up button, follow me on social media, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.